Some of y'all go to church every Sunday thinking you're saved because you go to church every Sunday.
So this is teaching for women. So I just want to say, praise y'all that you have eyes to see and ears to hear, and you have a lot of truth. But I want to try to give you some more scripture, because I know that I saw that you followed one of my brothers and sisters. And so I'm sure you've heard this, that Jesus isn't the Son's name. And Yeshua himself actually tells you they will change his name in John 5. So I want to give you scripture that you can go read, and because those that Jehovah gave to his Son, he reveals his name unto them, and he's kept those that Jehovah has given him in the Father's name. And if you see in Revelations, the 144,000 have the Father's name written on their foreheads. Because they changed his name. Jesus is not the Messiah of the Bible. His English name is Joshua, and you can see his English name in Zechariah 3 and Revelations 5. So you can see that Joshua, high priest, is the Messiah. He had the same name as Joshua's son of Nun in the Old Testament. And if you have a Strong's Concordance, you can look up Joshua son of Nun and see that it's Yahushua, which is the long form of Yeshua. Jehovah salvation. Yeshua is Yah salvation. It's a shorter version of it. And there's a lot of prophecy that they're going to change his name. They're going to blaspheme the Father's name. Because, Deuteronomy 18, he would send his Son in my name, he says. The Father's name isn't in Jesus. Okay? And John 5, verse 42 and 43, he says, I know you don't have the love of God in you, which is an idiom for I know you don't keep the 10 Commandments. 1 John 5, 3. I came in my Father's name and you didn't receive me. But there's going to be one that comes in his own name that you're going to receive a future prophecy. Come in a different name, Jesus. Jesus Horsh Krishna. Constantine created. After 3 Greek gods. The Son's father isn't Zeus. Okay, even translating Greek to English, it's Joshua. Like, you can even go look up a Greek translator and put his Greek name in there. And it translates to Joshua. And they even make mistakes in the Bible. In Hebrews 4, verse 8, some translation says, if Joshua son of Nun had given them rest when he had spoken of another day. And other translations say, if Jesus had given them rest when he had spoken of another day. Why? Because they didn't know if it was talking about Joshua son of Nun or Yeshua, Joshua, our Messiah, because they had the same name. And Jeremiah 23, an end time prophecy, because if you read Jeremiah 23, it tells you that the second Exodus is going to be so much greater than the first Exodus that they're not even going to mention the first Exodus, a future prophecy. And it has already been telling you that these pastors are lying. They're wolves in sheep's clothing who scatter his flock, who lied to his people. The prophets he didn't send, And they're going to dream and tell everyone in their neighbor their dreams, so that his people and their fathers forget Jehovah's name by their dreams. They're going to forget it for the name Baal. End time prophecy, second Exodus. And you see everywhere on TikTok and social media, people saying, Jesus came to me a dream. 2 Thessalonians 2 is being fulfilled to the T every day now, because now Christians say, Jesus is God. We are the temple, right? The man of perdition that will be revealed after the falling away of the churches, 2 Thessalonians 2, 2 Timothy 3 and 4, because the churches are turned onto fables. They will not endure sound doctrine in the end, but gather around themselves teachers having itching ears, and will be turned onto fables, right? So there is a falling away first, and then the man of perdition will be revealed. The son of Apollyon, their Greek god Jesus, right? They're children of Apollyon, who sits in their temple, because we are the temple. They've asked him into their heart, who opposite himself of Jehovah. Jesus made all things clean. You don't have to keep the food laws. Jesus did away with the commandments and the law. You don't have to keep them anymore. Who they worship over Jehovah, because they say, Jesus is God. 2 Thessalonians 2. With lying signs and wonders, because they say, oh, there's power in the name Jesus. I was healed by the name Jesus. When you can see in Luke 11 that Yeshua casted out demons with the finger of God and the 10 commandments. He casted out demons with the Spirit of God, who's only given to those who obey God. John 14 and Acts 5:32. He restored sight to the blind, hearing to the deaf, by giving them the covenants, because idolatry makes you deaf and blind. Psalms 115, 135. So you see not and you hear not. Romans 10. His people have a zeal for God, but not according to knowledge. Hosea chapter 6, verse 6 and 7, right? And Hosea chapter 4, verse 6. They reject Jehovah's knowledge, his law, so he rejects them and their children. His 10 commandments, his covenant. They're ignorant of Jehovah's righteousness, the 10 commandments, and have established their own righteousness. But how will they believe on him who they have not heard? And how will they hear without a preacher? Because all the pastors are liars in sheep's clothing, Jeremiah 23. The falling away, and that man of perdition be revealed. The 46,000 different Christian denominations, all disobedience that has forsaken the Holy Covenant. 46,000 different, the many, many messiahs that would come after him, that would deceive many with lying signs and wonders. There's 46,000 different versions of Jesus. This is all future prophecy. And then Romans 10 quotes Isaiah 52. Because how beautiful are the feet of them who preach the good tidings of good things. How beautiful are their feet, the watchmen that he rises up to publish salvation. Yeshua, salvation in the Strongs is Yeshua. And his people will know his name. John 17, he